What is up, YouTube? It is the Ville Outdoors here. Today is April 20th of 2023. Usually I would be in class at this time or around this time, but thankfully classes got canceled today, so I decided to make a little bit of a road trip. We are now outside of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, and we are 165 miles away in the middle of Catoctin, I think that's how you pronounce it, Creek, Maryland. I decided to come all the way out here because this creek in particular holds a couple different species that I haven't had caught for my Lifelist yet. If you remember some of my videos from last summer, I spent the last bit of summer going on a bunch of different road trips trying to catch different species for my Lifelist. Basically, Lifelisting is where you don't necessarily try and go for the biggest fish, but you try and see how many species of fish you can catch from a given area and try and target ones that you haven't ever caught before. So that's what we're going to be doing today, but we will try and treat each species as equals to each other. So I'm going to start off going for a little bit of a bigger fish, not necessarily using trout magnet, but as bigger fish I mean sunfish, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass. We'll just see if this creek holds any of those, but most of the fish we'll be going after today are micro species, which I'll get into a little later on once we start targeting them. But I gathered up some worms for that, and I do have the microscopic Tanago hooks with me, so we'll see what the day brings. I got a couple different spots planned out in case this doesn't work out, but the main goal is to get us up over 100 species on my Lifelist. I ended the summer last year at 98, and I'm going on vacation to the Florida Keys mid-May, so we're trying to get up over 100 or at 100 before we make the trip down there. So stick with it and stay tuned, and hopefully today's gonna be a great day of fishing. All right guys, I got my Tanago hook all rigged up. I got the barrel swivel up here, then I got the Tanago snell, a little split shot right here to hold the bait down, and then a little tiny piece of worm on the Tanago hook right there. I don't know if you guys can even see that, it's so small, but we're going to try and figure out what these species are. Over by this log jam over here, we're going to walk back out to it very carefully, and then we'll continue on with our fishing. Now this guy here, I believe, is another blunt-nosed minnow. Judging by the shape of the mouth and the profound dot on the tail, that's usually what a blunt-nosed minnow would look like. So we're going to go ahead and unhook this guy. Right on the Tanago hook. A little piece of worm. One last look at him, and there he goes. The only darters I've seen have been very small. I'm trying to move through the water very quietly here and try and see if I can find one of decent size to get on the hook, but I haven't seen any yet. Alright guys, this stretch down on through here is apparently the stretch where most of the species I'm after have been observed at. According to iNaturalist, that's kind of what I use to pinpoint these spots when I'm going species hunting. So this is where we got to really pay attention and keep a close eye on the creek. I like how the sun is shining over there. It'll make it a little bit easier for me. So let's keep our eyes peeled on the hunt for these species and see if we can get them to come up. Got something a little bit different here. I believe this is a juvenile river chub, but I could be wrong. So let me take a quick shot of this guy and then let this guy go. It doesn't look like juvenile river chubs I caught before, but it does not look like a creek chub, I will tell you that much. Alright guys, one last look at our little fish there. Not really sure what that is. Most likely a juvenile river chub, but you know, small chance it could be a juvenile bluehead chub. Not sure what juvenile bluehead chub look like, but there he is. We're just going to drop him back in the water, and he is good to go. Came on the Tanago with a little piece of worm. Let's see what else we can grab. Still looking for those darters. I haven't seen the ones we're after yet. Alright guys, switched up to the trout magnet. Got myself a nice little smallmouth bass. I believe that's my first one of the year right there. Took a little break from the Tanago hook because I wasn't seeing the darter species I was after, but nice little smallmouth bass. Gonna take a shot and then we're gonna release this guy. Alright, so our little smallmouth there is at least our fourth species of the day. We caught at least 5 or 6 species now actually, but I have to get the other 2 identified. One is a species of the Tropus genus and the other one is a species of the Nokomis genus that we have to identify. I'm leaning towards silver jaw minnow on the one because I want it to be a silver jaw minnow. Kind of biased there because I don't have silver jaw minnow on my life list yet. The other one I'm thinking is just a male river chub, just very small. Could be a bluehead chub though, I'm not really sure. So we'll have to get those identified. Seeing if maybe I can get a trout here, because I've seen some rounds. The one spot had some behemoths in it, but they weren't really biting. They were all surrounding a group of suckers that were in spawning mode. I tried catching the suckers with the worms I had packed on a trout magnet jig head and just kind of letting it drift, but they weren't wanting to play along too much. Another fish on, another species for the day. This one you guys should all know pretty well. This is the red breast sunfish. He's got a little leech or something on his fin there. Pretty little guy. We're gonna go ahead and take a shot and release this guy. Alright, little red breast going back in the water here. So now we're at 7 species now, 2 of which we still have to identify. Alright guys, got another fish on here. Looks like another sunfish. Yep, another red breast sunfish. I had a trout come after it, so I switched to the gold trout magnet to try and get a little more of a natural representation. And now I'm hoping for some results because I see some nice ones in here. It is the middle of the day now though, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. I'm going to fish a little more here. I'm going to start the transition to our next spot. Guys, fish on. It is a big old fall fish. Holy cow. That is a heifer right there. Whew. Struck that trout magnet with a vengeance. We're going to go ahead and take a shot of this guy and then we're going to let him go. Nice fall fish right there. That's a good pound. Alright guys, our 8th species of the day, the fall fish. It's going back in the water here. Oh boy, he was ready to go. Came on the gold trout magnet. There's a school of suckers and trout that are mixed in. I've been trying to pick off the trout, but they're not wanting anything to do with this. I don't know if you guys can see that over there, but there is 4 does that just ran down into the creek and are hopping up the bank now. Man, those things can jump high. It's pretty cool. Still working at these fish and haven't came up with much. It's getting about time to transition to our 2nd spot. That one will probably just be a micro fishing spot. From what I can tell, it didn't look like it had all that much otherwise. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Alright guys, well I was on my way to my 2nd spot here when I stumbled across this little stream, and in this water there's usually fish, so I looked down and I saw some fish, so I'm going to try and catch those fish. They're very spookish right now, but if I'm careful I can probably get one to nibble. I just want to see what these things are before I ditch them. They look like dace of some sort. worm's still on there, right? Yes. Yes, it is. So, what we got here looks to be a classic case of the eastern black-nosed dace. Common culprit for living in streams like this. I'm going to take a shot at this guy and then we're going to let him go. Well, we made it here to our second spot. It looks like it has a decent amount of potential. There are some few fish that I'm already seeing here. I just got to figure out how to get down there. Right now I'm up here and the fish are down there. So that should be an interesting process, but we'll figure it out. And hopefully we can find some fish. I'm not using the waders this time. I left them in the car. I got the flops on. So we're going to be rocking with that. Hopefully the water's not too cold. Alright guys, looks like we got another species here. I believe this is a common shiner. I don't think we caught one of these yet today. Pretty certain that's what that is. I could be wrong. But let's take a shot of this guy and then let's let him go. I believe I just added another species to the list today. If that is what I think it is, that is the biggest rosy side dace I've ever caught. I'm gonna go ahead and clean them off a little bit. I thought it was maybe a common shiner in spawning colors, but that irrestakable red on there, that is a giant rosy side dace. Haven't seen one that big. Off he goes. Took a lot of patience to get this guy, but look at that beautiful fantail darter. Gorgeous specimen. I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot and release this guy. Was over this guy for a while trying to catch him. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today, unfortunately. I tried to go as long as I could, but I was getting a little frustrated with these fish, and by the time I got home it's going to be dinner time anyway, and I don't want to be home super late. It's about 3 o'clock, a little after 3 o'clock right now. Been fishing since about 9:30 this morning, give or take. I'm not 100% sure how many species we ended up with. We got blunt nose minnow, spot fin shiner, something else, and then we got, what else did we get? Chub of some sort. We have to identify that one. Red breast sunfish, smallmouth bass, fall fish, eastern black-nosed dace, rosy side dace. So we at least got 9 species today. There might be one I'm missing. We almost had a rainbow trout, but it spit the trout magnet. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. A little bit different than the stock trout fishing videos I have been putting up. Haven't had a ton of time to fish with school. Thankfully class got canceled today and I was able to get out and travel a little bit more. But it was a little bit frustrating the way it turned up. I thought it was going to be a little bit better than it was. I thought I was going to find a little more than I did, but didn't work out that way. So hopefully we can redeem ourselves next time. But until then, I will see you guys. This is the Ville Outdoors.